Hey guys, Casey back with another video. Um, Today I'm going to add something to the van that's going to hopefully improve my charging efficiency in terms of charging up my power stations when I'm on the road camping or maybe even here around the house. I'm kind of going all in on the solar thing. I know some of you probably haven't seen it or may not even care, but I've got another series on my channel about an off-grid cabin that I'm going to build, and hoping to go, well, I'm not going to hook it up to the electrical grid. It's just way too expensive for my plans with this cabin. So I'm going to go solar and a generator, a little gas powered generator for when I don't have enough solar. Um, but anyway, with that commitment to solar, I thought, well, might as well go full send on my van project as well. So I ordered a Bluetti DC to DC charger, and this will be kind of the you know unofficial unboxing of this as well. Um, so essentially what this is going to do, it's going to allow me to charge up my power stations directly from my car's alternator. Now you may be thinking, well, you can already do that, right? You can already plug a power station into your DC outlet and get a good charge. However, the voltage on those outlets is severely limited. Typically, well, could be off a little bit, but it's typically going to be between 80 and 90 watts of charging. And if you've got, a 1,000-watt power station, 80 watts max charging, so it's going to take you, approximately 12 hours of driving time to charge your power station, which may not be a big deal. But if you're camping in one area for a while and you don't intend on or plan on running your vehicle for that period of time to charge it, which is what I found, then that DC port that's built into your car really isn't efficient enough to meet your needs. So when I ordered my solar panels, I saw this Bluetti pop up, kind of a new device. Alternator chargers aren't new, but this Bluetti has a slightly different characteristic, I think, is that you can vary the voltage of the charging, meaning that instead of just charging at a normal 12-volt rate, you can crank it up, I want to say up to 50 some volts, like 54, 56 volts max. Again, that would be determined on the, what your power station can handle. But if you can crank it up to 45 or 50 volts and charge, then you should be able to pull over 500 watts of charging per hour. So that means you could charge up a 1,000 watt power station in 2 hours, or less than 2 hours if it's not completely drained. So anyway, today I'm going to take a look at what it's going to take to hook it up. I know I've got to run some cables, so let me go ahead and set up the rest of the unboxing here. So when I purchased this, I purchased it as a kit and got it off Amazon, and they were running a deal. So I got about $250 off of it. I think it's not cheap. I'm not going to lie about that. But I thought, well, I'm not only going to use this when I'm camping, but potentially it could come into play at my off-grid cabin. If I'm having if I have an unusually high power need and deplete my batteries and need to get them charged up, then in theory, I could, just toss it in the van and go to the store or something and get a lot of wattage back. Kind of how I justified it anyway. But anyway, kit's really, really simple. Comes with, looks to be all the hardware you would need, including, in this case, you got 2 strands of 6-gauge wire. So it also has a 60 amp breaker. Also comes with the connectors that you can plug directly into your solar panel, or sorry, so you could plug it directly into your power station. So this would just be a lead that you would need a longer cord for, but it should make it pretty simple. So yeah, I'm going to take a look at my van. Got the hood popped. So when I hooked up my wiring harness for my trailer hitch, This is you can see here I'm at the front of the van, and approaching the van, either passenger side or my left side. Anyway, I ran power wires for the tow hitch. It actually terminates behind the glove box, but for these wires, I'm going to take a look real quick and see if I can find somewhere a little bit closer, so I don't have to run the 6 gauge wires, across the engine bay, hoping I can get, straight through and into the firewall. So I'll take a look at that real quick and see what I can find. So it looks like I found what I think is a pretty suitable location to run my 6 gauge wires. So I'll let you take a look at it again. So once again, I'm approaching the van right from the start, or right from the front. So you see here's the battery, of course, the air box, and then it's more or less a straight shot. Got a light back in there on it, so you can see the tip of my screwdriver right back here. There's a wiring loom right here. Then there's a pretty good sized rubber grommet right here. You can see it's really, really soft. You don't want to punch it out. What I'm going to do is I cut through it. Same grommet on the inside. So here's the brake pedal, accelerator pedal, and then right up here, you see this wiring loom, and there's the grommet. This sound deadening, this blue sound deadening, it actually has a little piece that kind of bends back right where that grommet is, so you don't have to pull all of that insulation out. You don't even have to, doesn't look like I'm going to have to cut it. So hopefully I'll be able to run my wiring straight behind this kick panel, and I think this project is going to lead into another project, but I think I'm going to go ahead and pull this out. I had one viewer last year that commented that they removed it from their van and liked the results. So what that would do, it would give me an easier pass through to the back of the van. I like having this, but what I found is it's too deep. There's no organization, so things get lost in the shuffle and it's hard to find. So what I'll probably end up doing is removing this guy and building something about half as tall. I love the cup holders. I love this as a place to put the phone, but it's just too big. So there's the harness, and it's maybe a little hard to see, but all I did was I took a knife and simply get a hold of the knife and the light at the same time. So what I did was I just took my knife and literally just jammed it through the bottom of that harness. It's about a ½ inch away, 3/4 of an inch away from the actual wiring. And the wiring actually is inside the loom, and it's got a pretty, I'll say it's got a protective guard around it, on the plastic wiring loom guards. So you don't want to hit that, but you can pierce right through the bottom of that, and pierced it through. It's kind of got 2 levels, so I pushed it through and then went inside the van where I showed you above the accelerator and brake pedals. You find the loom, and then be careful because you got to kind of reach up in there, and then you can feel the end of the knife blade kind of poking through. And so what I'm doing now is just kind of twisting the knife blade back and forth to open it up a little bit, and I think that should give me the ability to feed that wire through. So let's give it a shot. So with the kit I mentioned, directly from Bluetti. Again, I'm not sponsored by Bluetti. Simply, purchased it. Seemed to be a good deal, good product. Anyway, it comes with all the wiring you're going to need, and I laid it out here by the van so you can see how long it is. It already has the ring terminals, so you can hook it directly to your battery. It's got this extra skin around it, this protection to make it a little bit stronger. And here you can see just how long it is. It is actually longer than the van, which is pretty cool. So I'm guessing it's about 20 feet long. And the circuit breaker is already um, affixed to the positive line. The terminal's already set up, so I know, I guess it's possible you could save a few bucks if you were buying the wiring separately. However, with everything intact, ready to go, at this early point, I would recommend, going ahead and buying the kit. You can see this is pretty high quality wire too. For 6-gauge wire to be that flexible means it has multiple strands inside, high quality wire. So, yep, let's go ahead and feed it through that grommet. So I've got the wire in the van. You're going to have to feed it through from inside the passenger compartment, because this is going to go actually to the alternator or DC charging box, which is going to be in the cabin, and there's no way you're going to get this through that grommet in the firewall. So the only option, or the best option for sure, is to feed this in through, which shouldn't be that difficult. However, this protective sheath it has around it, I'm going to go ahead and put some electrical tape around it, because this right here, you can see, expands and it's likely to get stuck on that grommet. So I'm going to tape that up and then grab, see if I can find a clothesline or a clothes hanger wire, and see if I can feed it on through. All right, so I could not find my roll of wire, which is not surprising. So what I have, I'm going to try to fish it through. I do have this extra long screwdriver, and I had some old lamp cord. And what I did was I taped the lamp cord to the end of my screwdriver, and I'm going to try to push this through the grommet here. And then when I can see this on the inside of the cabin, I'll tape this black wire to my 6-gauge wire and try to pull it back through the firewall. So let's see if it works. I think it busted through. Let's see if I can see it here. This is a difficult spot to film in, but anyway, here's my screwdriver. Reach up there and grab it. So now I've got my, I know that was hard to see, but it did push through the grommet fairly easily. And I reached up and grabbed the, I didn't untape it from the screwdriver. I simply pulled the loose end, from behind it and pulled it through. So now I'm going to attempt to affix this to this wire and then pull it in reverse. Here's what my lamp cord looks like going through the eyelets. So what I'm going to do is stagger these like an inch or so, and then again put some electrical tape around them, so you're not trying to pull all of this through at one time. Kind of stagger it a little bit, and then that rubber grommet in the firewall should expand a little bit and allow these to come through, but we'll see. All right, so here we go, all taped up, and we'll see if I can pull it through. By the way, I am doing this by myself. It would be probably a little bit easier if I had another person, but like with most things, I like to see if I can do things by myself. So see if I can pull this through. All right, so as you can see here, I've got my screwdriver with the lamp cord still attached. But one thing you don't want to do is just jerk this lamp cord real fast. So I'm going to pull it till I get a little bit of tension. You can see here it's getting close to the point where the part I taped up is going to go through the firewall. So again, you just want to take that nice and slow. So when you're making that cut through the rubber grommet, you want to make sure it's wide enough to pull your wires through. There's going to be some tension on it, so I'm giving it a pretty decent yank. There we go. So yeah, I got both wires coming through. Now one thing I don't want to do is just keep pulling and pulling and pulling, because I don't want too much up here. All right, so yeah, I do not have my battery unhooked yet because my wires aren't live, but I will disconnect the battery in a few minutes. Let me go ahead and get the tape off my screwdriver, pull my fishing cord off, and then show you where we're at. Here we go. I've got my 6-gauge wires pulled through the firewall. You see here they're marked. This one is clearly marked battery, and this one are battery positive. This one is battery negative, of course, black. So I'm not going to hook it up yet I'm going to go ahead and continue the installation. So as you can see here, got the driver's side of the van, and I have both wires fished through the firewall. It took me a little less than 5 minutes actually from start to finish. So you can see the 2 lines going in through the firewall right behind this blue insulation paneling or padding. So I didn't have to cut it. There is a little piece that you can pull back out of the way. And yeah, that was actually a pretty easy job. So the only thing you have to think about now is, where you're going to mount this charger. It does need to be permanently affixed to something, and of course you're going to want it out of the way. You're going to have quite a bit of wire. If you mount it up close, you're going to have some excess wire, which you could cut and trim off. You could take a section out, make sure you properly can reconnect them. You're not going to want to cut the wire if you want your charger all the way in the back of your van or truck or car. And of course it looks like you have plenty enough line to do that. So I will try my absolute best to make sure all this is visible on camera, but I can't guarantee anything. Again, here's my charger. This hex key came with the kit. It's the only one you'll need. I'm just going to back those set screws out. And just kind of another reminder, I have not hooked my 6-gauge cables up to the battery yet. So right now there's absolutely no charge, no power coming into this charger. So no risk of electrical shock just yet. So I got those screws backed out. Positive to positive, there's a plus sign right on it. Let me do the negative first. And so I'm gonna start. Again, I apologize. I know this is hard to see, but it's really, really straightforward. So I've got them snug. I'll go ahead and tighten them up a little bit more. Close the cover. Spin that baby around. Again, same process. This has a little cover, and the hex key is going to go down inside. I hope this thing works, because as of right now, it's a really, really well thought out system. And then really not much to think about other than where you're going to take your cables through. Every vehicle is going to be a little bit different, but every vehicle is going to have a spot with 1 or 2 good-sized rubber grommets going through the firewall. All you have to do is be able to locate them. So once again, make sure you have the negative going into negative. Give them a little tug, but I'm not going to yank on them, of course. And I will go ahead and hook everything up. By the way, I apologize for my voice. Either allergies or bronchitis or something. This has been a bad winter. But anyway, this cord came with the power station, and simply plug it in like normal. Again, I don't have any power going through it yet. See if I can read that before I hook it up to the actual battery. I want to make sure this is off. You can see it looks like there's it does say off on it, and there's on. So on, you're going to have red right there, which means it's live, and then green means it's safe to operate. So I'm going to leave it off until I get it hooked up to the battery. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and hook these up to the battery. And in order to do that, I'm going to first take the negative cable off the battery. I don't have to pull both of them off, but when you pull the negative off, it'll de-energize the battery completely. So let me get a 10 mil and do that real quick. So again, this is de-energize the negative from the battery. So now what I'll do is, so again, I've got the negative unhooked, and I'm going to go ahead and pull this accessory post off on the Sienna. This happens to be a stuck 12 millimeter nut. Go ahead and pull it off. Typically you want to hook up the red or positive cable first before you hook up the negative terminal. Get that back on here. You see what it looks like. And here's what I've done so far. And now the last thing I have to do is attach this negative to the battery cable, and then put the post back on, the terminal back on. And just a reminder, my charger inside the van is off. The breaker is tripped, so it's off. So get that on there finger tight. I'll go ahead and move this over, and you'll see a little spark, but it's not going to shock you. Tighten the positive. Snug it up with my finger. I will zip tie these together as I finish my installation, so they're not, slopping around. But next thing I'm going to do is go in and see if we can get this thing up actually working. So here's a surprise. This particular charger is going to be controlled via your smartphone. In my case, I'm going to use my smartphone, so it's got a QR code. Then I'm going to have to go dark here for a minute and snap a picture of this and download the app, and then that's how you're going to control the voltage of the actual charger. Each of these power stations has a minimum and maximum voltage input, and you're going to want to make sure that you don't overcharge, so you're going to have to kind of dial back your voltage depending on what power station you're actually using. So we'll talk more about that after I get the app. So I've got it hooked up as per the manual instructions. So started the vehicle up, waited 30 seconds, and I went ahead and turned the breaker on. The unit has a green light, came on, and it flashed rapidly, then it went straight green. And right now it's pulling 100, and of course it's going to go off as soon as I start to look at it. Pulling 179 watts at idle, and I haven't adjusted the voltage yet to increase the power, but we'll go ahead and take a look at the app later and see what I can get it up to. But that'll be for another video. But right now, that's pretty much all I have for now. This process pretty straightforward. If I weren't filming, I would say it took me I'm gonna guess about 35-40 minutes. So pretty easy installation. Just fishing the wires through the firewall is really the only thing that took a little time. And like I mentioned, each vehicle is going to be a little bit different, but you should be able to find the grommets. There should be at least two, really, when I say good size, I'm talking like, 2.5, 3 inches in diameter grommets to fish through. And then the instructions pretty much take care of themselves. So hope you got something out of this video. I'll give you a performance test in another video to upcome, but right now I'm going to wrap this up. We've got some more big storms coming in later tonight, and then remaining through the rest of the weekend. So I'm going to batten this down and get ready for some storms. So thanks for watching. Take care.